So today we're going to talk about the concept of working on commission. There were a couple of posts in the CCA Facebook group, and we've seen some kind of stuff around about so-and-so charges $5,000 for a sales page and makes 5% commission on all the sales and that kind of thing. And so I wanted to just discuss with you how that actually works in practical life, because as you know, not everything makes sense in actual real life. It can sound super great, and as we know, the internet can make all kinds of things sound super amazing, but the actual ins and outs of something aren't always that great. So the concept would be, so a commission means, of course, that you're getting a certain percentage of sales. So let's work with a sales page example. The idea would be that you get commissions based on the amount of sales made on the sum of sales made on a sales page for a certain period of time. And there could be two ways that you could do this. You could have a base fee and then make additional commissions on top of that. And dollar signs, woohoo, so exciting. But again, stay with me here. Or you could work solely based on commission, where there's no upfront fee. You solely get commissions based on the performance of the sales page. Here's the thing that you need to keep in mind, though. In order for a commission structure to work, you need to really understand all of the elements that are in play with this sales page, because there's a lot that you can't control if you are the copywriter. You might, for example, let me get back to that in just a second, one way that you could do it, but you aren't in control of the traffic that your client might be sending to the sales page. You are not in control of the amount of traffic. You are not in control of the quality of the traffic. You are not in control of whether or not they're running ads to this. You're not in control of whatever. Maybe you helped them implement a funnel, but you're not in control of the email funnel leading up to it. You're not in control of their customer support. You're not in control of anything. And you aren't really even in control of the copy that you put on that page, because your client can go in and change things as they want to, because it's there, it's up to them. So the idea of working on commission is very, very risky when it comes to putting all of your eggs in that basket, because you can't control the results. The only thing that you kind of semi-control is the copy on that page. You also would need to really, really know that you can trust your client, because there are a lot of parameters that go into that, right? Does all sales include all sales forever? Does that include all sales for a certain period of time? Does that include affiliate sales? Does that include, there are all kinds of different things. And commission, if it's not a client that you can absolutely completely trust, unfortunately, the way the commission structure works, it incentivizes your client to not report all sales, and to not make all sales part of that structure, right? To maybe say, okay, you're going to get commissions for the first 7 days, but the cart closes on day 9, and that's often cart closes a big day for sales. So you just need to be, if this were something you were going to do, you would need to discuss it very, very carefully with your client. Because the problem is that fundamentally, you can't know what the results are going to be. Your client can't know what the results are going to be. So for you to say, I'm getting a 5% commission, 5% commission could be $5,000, it could be $10,000, or it could be $500, because you have no control over how your client is executing this launch. Now, there is one kind of advanced pricing technique in which this might work. Maybe. You know that your pricing as a copywriter, fundamentally, it's going to be based on, or to begin with, I should at least say, it's going to be based on figuring out a good ballpark hourly rate for yourself. Then when you have a project, figuring out how long it's going to take you to write the project, how long edits will likely take, how many meetings, all that kind of thing. Putting that all together, and then coming up with a price somewhere in there. That's our CCA students know it's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. Now, let's say you come up with the cost for a sales page, and that's a nice long sales page, so it's like a $2,000 project. Now, let's say your client says, I can't pay you $2,000, but I could pay you $1,000 and a 5% commission or something like that. Depending on what you know about the project, that might be something that you would be willing to take on with a client. But again, you can't control it. In a scenario like that, without getting too complicated here, what would make much more sense is for you to either say, all right, you pay me $1,000 now, and then you pay me the other half after you've made your sales, so you still get your $2,000, or work with your client and say, you pay me $1,000 now, and you pay me $1,000 afterwards, but for the extra service or extra, what's the word I'm looking for? But for the extra benefit of letting you wait to pay me, you then also pay me 5% commission or 2% commission or something like that. As you can tell, it gets really, really complicated. And again, especially if you're working with a new client, there's no way you can know what the actual results of their projects are going to be. If you have been working with a client for a really long time, then maybe commission is something that you could explore with them because you've seen the results of previous launches and that kind of thing. But also, if you've been working with a client for a really long period of time and you've been doing all project-based quotes, there's no incentive for them to move over and make it a commission-based project, or like partially paid ahead and partially commission-based. So I know that the idea of, and I'm not at all saying that you shouldn't try it, if a client mentions it, or if it is a possibility, but it gets very, very complicated very quickly, and you need to know what the parameters are. Again, what the percentage is, how long you'll earn those commissions based on, when that commission is paid out, how it's paid out, whether or not you get access to see all the sales that were made to verify that you are in fact getting the correct amount of commission. Again, if it's based on all sales or only some sales, there are a lot of different parameters. And again, because you can't control the amount of traffic that is getting to that page and all kinds of other things, you have no idea what that commission is going to be. And also on the client side, it makes more sense for them to, unless you're giving them an upfront discount on the price, it makes so much more for them to just pay you by the project versus then paying you a commission. Unless you were to say, again, give them a discount at the beginning and then pay you out on commission later. But can you see how all these different elements make it so much more complicated and make it that much easier for you to not get paid your value in the long run? I wanted to bring this up because it was kind of discussed in our student Facebook group, or people had some questions about it. But it's not a tactic I would generally recommend, and especially not for people who are newer to copywriting, and definitely not with clients that you are new to working with, because you really need to trust your clients / have, in this scenario, written agreements with your client about exactly how all of this would flesh out. It's risky because you don't know how much you're going to end up getting paid for the work that you're doing. Is there a chance that you could end up with an enormous payment? Of course there is. Is there a chance that you could end up with a payment that is so far below what you deserved? Yeah, of course there is. So the idea of working on commission for something that you don't control, commission can work well when you're like, if you're selling something, for example, if you go into a furniture store and the people who work in the furniture store may work on commission, and no, they don't control the furniture, but they know what all the furniture is, they know what all the costs are, they know who's coming in the door, they know, it's very transparent. But the idea of working on commission where you only are responsible for one element, and even that is not completely in your control, is a very risky proposition. What is a much wiser way to do it, even though it's less sexy, less like, ooh, again, dollar signs coming out of the eyeballs, because again, in general, commission structures are not going to make sense for your clients. They're not going to want to do it either. Unless you give them some kind of upfront discount. But again, risky. But what makes more sense from beginning to end is to go back to, I know, less sexy, but go back to the traditional system that we teach you for pricing out your projects based on your hourly rate, which is based on your level of experience and the work that you've done, and then based on how long you think it's going to take you to write something, how long you think it will take you to edit something, and this of course is based on your practice if you haven't had a lot of clients yet, or based on previous clients, and then meetings and all that kind of stuff. So is commission-based work a possibility? Yeah, of course. I mean, like, practically everything is a possibility, right? But is it also super duper risky? Yeah, super duper risky. If you have a ton of clients and you have money coming out of your ears and you don't have to worry about getting really shortchanged on a project, then yeah, maybe it's something to try, maybe to discuss with a client. But again, don't forget to put on your client perspective. I was going to say client hat, but that doesn't make sense. View it from your client's perspective, because if it doesn't make sense for them, then there's no way they're going to say yes to it either, right? Okay, so that's my little discussion on commission-based work.